All right. Well, welcome everybody to LinkedIn Tuesday today on February 4th, 2025, where we have Ruth Lipsky with us from Lee Hecht Harrison. She'll talk with us about LinkedIn's tools for job seekers. Please enter your information in the chat window so that you can network with others. This event will be recorded, and the recording will be on the Career USA YouTube channel for others to view in the future. By participating in this event, you give consent for your name and picture to appear. The comments in the Zoom chat window do not appear in the recording. So there's a little chat button at the bottom, and you can use the chat box to enter your question for Ruth as she goes through her presentation. And today we have actually Jeff Morris on the call with us. So he is back. He is observing today, but his background is quite varied. He founded Career DFW in 2008 to help job seekers in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Then he started careerusa.org in 2012 to help job seekers nationwide. He also wrote the book, Your Job Search, or What I've Learned About Your Job Search That You May Not Know. And if you run into Jeff, he usually has a couple of copies on him, or you can buy his book on Amazon. He's led the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group since 2007, and he's been a member of the PIT crew since 2017, which is the practice interview team. As for me, I'm your guest host for the next couple of weeks. Jeff is taking back over the helm on February 18th. As usual, here's a list and photos of our esteemed speakers. We have Locke Alderson, Terry Sullivan, Ruth Lipsky, and Kurt Vandemotter, who come on and share their expert wisdom with you on LinkedIn from their viewpoints. So as you know, we have our LinkedIn Tuesdays at 1 o'clock Central Time. There is the interviewing or pit crew on 1 o'clock Central Time Wednesday. And on Friday morning, we have the North Dallas Plano Career Focus Group at 9:30 a.m. Central Time. So for the practice interview team, which is the interviewing, that meets at Christ United Methodist Church in Plano, Texas, the first, second, third, and fifth Wednesdays of the month. And on the fourth Wednesdays of the month, we have the sessions online, so anybody can join in from anywhere around the country. So it's really a good idea for, really a good idea for you to see them if you can. Also, this upcoming Friday, it is open forum. If you have questions, we have answers. So Walt Glass and Matt Keelan will take your questions about the job search. Whatever questions that you may have, they'll be able to help answer. So also, please note that we have the Career DFW and Career USA LinkedIn groups. Career DFW has over 15,000 members, and we also have the careerusa.org group. So please join those groups. Also, if you've missed any of these previously recorded sessions, you can go to Career USA's YouTube page, and you can click on playlists and then click on view full playlist. And then you will see this type of a playlist that pops up, and you'll see all the recorded sessions. As a reminder, we do not record Terry Sullivan's presentations. Also, if you aren't receiving emails about our workshops, you can join the Career USA mailing list. You can scan this QR code or send an email to Career USA subscribe@groups.io. That way, at the beginning of the week, you will see what the topics are, speakers are for LinkedIn Tuesday, what's happening with Pit Crew Wednesday, and the North Dallas Plano group on Friday. Please note that Career DFW is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have no full or part-time employees, and we survive on donations. Please consider making a donation when you get your next job. And if your new company makes matching donations, we are registered. If you do not see us listed, let us know who they use. So today we have Ruth Lipsky with Lee Hecht Harrison. She is a career consultant with Lee Hecht Harrison, and she specializes in the enhancements that LinkedIn rolls out, particularly the improvements that job seekers can use. So with that, I will turn it over to Ruth.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the introduction. We're going to be talking today about LinkedIn, and we're going to concentrate on the ability to use the tools that they have available to them. LinkedIn is pretty famous for being able to have your online resume available for recruiter searches. It is famous for having a robust search engine for jobs, but it also has a lot of other features. And being able to understand what features are available, how LinkedIn Recruiter works, and the types of tools that are available just on a regular free basis will help you use LinkedIn most effectively in your search. So, first thing we want to know is when a recruiter is using the LinkedIn Recruiter software, what exactly does it look like? How does it work? A recruiter will always start with a basic search, looking for a title, looking for some skills. Those go into the system. They might even put a geographic location because that's becoming more important right now. And in this case, looking for a project manager in the greater Chicago area with these two skills, business strategy and analytics. LinkedIn provides 42,798 potential candidates who could be a good match for this. That's way too many for anybody to look at. LinkedIn, you may remember, never does anything randomly. The people who appear in this search are appearing in the order that is best suited for that recruiter's search. So there's a reason that this person came up number one, number two, number three. LinkedIn has determined that these are the best suited. You need to make sure that you're in the LinkedIn considers you the best suited when a recruiter does a search. Now, LinkedIn created some spotlight features so that the recruiters would be able to narrow down from a huge list of total candidates to something that is more appropriate for what they're looking for. And there are four of them that are the key spotlight features. One is, are you open to work? The other is, are you connected to my company in any way? The other is, have you shown any interest in my company? And the third is, are you active on LinkedIn or are you considered an active talent? Now, notice that when the LinkedIn recruiter software gives the recruiter this list of people, it's a long list, but the amount of information that is given for any individual candidate is pretty small. So it's giving the name, the title of the job currently being held, uh, and the profile, the headline area. Not much else available. So the headline area has become very important in a job search because it's your only opportunity to talk directly to a recruiter and make you come up as a more interesting possibility than the other people who are appearing on that search. So our agenda today, we're going to take a look at the top section of LinkedIn that contains the headline, the titles, the verification areas. We're going to be taking a look at the skills because you see that skills is one of the basic searches that recruiters are looking for. We'll talk about both the technical skills and the managerial ones. And then we'll talk about the spotlight features because those allow you to be brought up higher in the search criteria. So let's start off with that attention grabbing headline that talks to the recruiter and ensures that you're one of the key people that they're going to be most interested in. If you have a title that is part of a skill set and you want to make sure that the recruiter knows specifically the skills that are probably going to be uppermost in their search, you're going to put in a title, possibly two titles, and skill pipe. The pipe is used to indicate a separation. In LinkedIn, it means and or. If you have a title that is broader and could be different levels of an organization, could even be different responsibilities in different organizations, you'll put in the titles and then put in what your specialty is. What do you do best? If you're a project manager or program manager, what exactly do you accomplish? Same with something in the accountant, senior accountant. Being able to talk about what you do, where your superpowers lie, gives the recruiter information about you, but also allows you to determine where you want to be in an organization. The higher level you are, probably the more philosophical or more strategic your value statement is going to be. So, creating value for business through effective marketing strategies is probably going to be more effective than communication, emails, and individual skills that might not necessarily tell the story. Same thing for director levels. Helping the world become more customer centric is a great way of talking to a recruiter. They're going to be looking more closely at how you got that done, but that's probably a goal that they have at that higher level. One of the newer features is the verification. LinkedIn, like most other social media platforms, is concerned that they have real people and not robots, not people who are actually artificial intelligence constructs. So they've created a verification in three different ways. It can either be for your identity, which requires a government ID. It could be because of your workplace, so that your employer would verify that you actually work there, or an educational institution, which would be if you're attending a school or a college, or if you're employed by a school or college. It shows who you say you are, really allows you to be able to talk about, I'm a real person. And the key part of that is it is going to be up in the top portion up here. And there are two verifications that I have. I have the government ID and I have the workplace. The workplace and the education you can get set up on your laptop or on your computer. If you're looking to verify by a government ID, it looks as if you could set up a government ID via your laptop or computer, but you can't. You have to use your phone in order to do that. So if you get to a point and LinkedIn is not moving on with the verification process, yeah, go back and try sharing something that is going to be on your phone, because it is going to be looking for um, facial recognition and the front and back of a real time passport or driver's license. One of the questions that comes up quite a bit is, when do I say that I'm no longer at the job that I have been at for a number of years? Normally, that's going to be at about the 2-month point. It could be longer if you are still in a severance package. It could be shorter if your company tells you that you have to change it immediately. But there are two different ways that you can show that now that you've completed your job, what comes next. And one of them is adding a career break. LinkedIn has added this feature so that you can say exactly why you're no longer working. You could be laid off. You could be taking care of family members. You could be relocating to a different part of the country. So LinkedIn is giving you some options. The problem with these options is that it still recognizes that you're not employed. And LinkedIn still rewards people who are employed, in which case you may want to add a separate item in your experience section that just says, I'm looking for a job. I consider myself self employed, looking for my next opportunity. You do need to have a company associated with this, but there are a lot of ways that you can say consultant, self employed, looking for a best fit. But being able to put information as a placeholder for your job. My job is looking for a job. This tells, and being able to put in the skills, the experiences that you feel are important for your next job are going to give you that boost in order to be considered a complete profile and be able to come closer to where the recruiters can find you.
Ruth, for the career break, was that something that was recently added within the past year? Because I don't remember seeing it from years ago.
It's been one of the more recent ones, but being able to take a look, you can do it several ways. Going into your experience section, say I want to add this experience, you can either do that career break, or you can add a new position. If you're looking for that career break, it pops up here and allows you to choose which of these options best suits while you're not working right now.
Mhm.
It can be useful if you are actually taking a break and you don't want necessarily to be working, but it's more effective for the searches if, as you're adding something, you add a new position altogether.
Mhm. Okay.
Does that work for everyone?
Yep.
Okay. One of the things that we find a problem with companies is that they can give you a title, and the title has nothing to do with what you really were expected to perform in your role. One of the features that can be used in LinkedIn is expand your title. And being able to expand your title allows you to explain what you actually did to a recruiter, and you can translate the title that your company gave you into something that's more standardized. And being able to utilize this is going to give you a boost in being able to find where the recruiter is most interested. So, my official title is career consultant, but in the industry, career coach is used more often. I put in a pipe in the title line and put both titles in there to improve my chances of being found by a recruiter using whichever one they're looking for. However, in a previous role, I had a title, but my actual job was to move all of the material we had in classrooms into an e learning environment. And the 12 people who were reporting to me were all geared toward that as our primary goal. During that time, I could have accepted a job as an instructional designer or an e learning developer because so much of my time was caught up in that type of activity. Although people will look at this and say, you are a senior manager of training and development, I could also easily accept a job as either of these other two. Putting those in parentheses means I've translated what my title was at the company to something that indicates more closely what my actual job duties were. You can do that both on LinkedIn and you can do that on your resume, because having a title that is in the job family or very close to what that recruiter is looking for is going to be more important, because they can't read everything in your experience section to find out what you really did in that job. So, expanding titles, good thing to do. Going into the skills area, LinkedIn has 3,600 skills that they have in their list. You need to be able to pick out the ones that relate to you, but are also the ones that the recruiters are looking for in the job postings. And those tend to change over time. So, finding the skills, you can go into the Career Explorer, which is a different set of information. So this is a LinkedIn page, but is not associated with your LinkedIn information where you would have the tabs for home, jobs, profile. This is a completely independent group. But within this, you can go down and say, here's a job that I'm interested in. And let's say it's a program manager. Has a couple different things that you can choose from. Let's go with just a basic program manager. Here are the skills that LinkedIn is expecting to see for a program manager. If you have any of these skills, and these are all more of the hard skills, they're not the soft skills like communication or leadership, but as LinkedIn is looking at your profile and determining how complete a program manager you are, it's going to be assuming that you have these skills. And they're in the order of the most important to the least important. So if you're looking for skills to add into your profile and you're not sure what the best ones are, you can do the research and look at the job postings, find the words that come up most often there. But you can also go on to this site and look for the ones that LinkedIn has associated with success in this type of role. The other thing that LinkedIn is giving us on this page, and Patty, were you putting this link into the chat? She is so
I
good.
already have.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is not an easy page to find. So Patty always puts this link into the chat. Download that, take a look at it so that you can save it. It's not always easy to find if you're just doing a Google search. But the other thing that LinkedIn is giving us right now is, do you want something that is similar to this role? How do you find it? And it gives you a couple of options here. It has scored the different skills. How many of them do they have in common? Let's find what's transferable. Or you can take a look at what's a popular move after you've been a program manager. So in program manager, moved into a project manager. Pretty straightforward, but only 58% of the skills really overlap because it's assuming that you're going to need some that are associated with the industries that utilize that title most. So if you're not going into construction, you don't need to worry about moving in and missing out on some of the skills. But going into IT as a project manager, going into product manager, going into a director level, most of these are not going to be a surprise to you. But being able to say that I've got transferable skills that allow me to pick up another type of title or make a bit of a career shift can be an important part of deciding where your next career needs to start. So try that one because it's got some great research information. It also has a lot of information about future of work, data, the blog that is out there. It's a good set of information just to watch over and see what they feel is important for a worker today.
And Ruth, does it matter for the city that we select for that? Because that was on Atlanta versus, say, Dallas or Phoenix.
It doesn't seem to change with the United States. I've done it for a couple of jobs, changing Northeast, Southwest,
Mm.
and changing around. And it doesn't seem, but if you were in perhaps a different country, there might be other things that were important for it. But the
Okay.
city is not necessarily important. Okay, let's talk about that hashtag open to work. LinkedIn added this as an option a couple years ago uh, around, I think it's been about 6 years now, because they're saying that it's not anything to be ashamed of. If you're unemployed, a lot of people are unemployed. And more, it's because of mergers and acquisitions that started tremendously about 10 years ago, where people were completely wiped out of their jobs because that particular slice of the company was being bought by another company and they were utilizing a different set of people to fill those jobs. Immensely talented people were laid off during that time frame, which was the impetus to LinkedIn creating this feature. The pandemic made it even more necessary because during the pandemic, companies had to financially resize to make it through the pandemic, lower number of customers, lower activity in their industry. And once again, people who had strong talents were being let go. Recruiters like to be able to pick up these people, and it's going to be a feature that's important. Now, this hashtag open to work can be looked at as being something desperate or can be looked at as something that is a reasonable next step in your career. So let's take a look at the negatives associated with using that hashtag open to work in a public format. One is that there can be a perception of desperation. Most of these are going to be the recruiters and managers who remember the days when a layoff only involved people who were the poor performers. People who more recently have been dealing with the change in the workforce environment and culture and knowing that mergers and acquisitions, pandemic fallout have caused other people to be laid off, don't see it that way. But there's still people who do. There's a concern that there might be more spam. Anything you put on social media can be an open invitation to people trying to take advantage of you. If you are getting messages that don't look right or are from people who don't have that verification badge next to their name, be suspicious of them. And for those people who remember that layoffs were only for the people who were poor performers, there could be reputation damage because 10 years ago, you did not want to let people know that you had been laid off because it was an indication that you were the poor performer in the department. Nowadays, that is absolutely not true. So, on the positive side, as you have that hashtag open to work, you significantly increase your visibility where more recruiters are going to be able to find you, and you will be receiving more invitations from recruiters to start an interview process. You'll have more messages coming to you, and you'll have more networking activity. So the networking opportunities are going to increase because as you're indicating that you are looking for your next role, people who you worked with in the past quite often are going to be able to touch base and are going to try and assist you. We find that people really do want to work with each other, want to help each other. It's just in our nature as people who want to assist. So this hashtag open to work also gives you a bit more control over the job titles that you're looking for. And that open to work area, it does give you the ability to say if you're willing to work remote, whether you're willing to work hybrid, what cities you're most interested in working in. There's a lot of information that's available there that is keys to a recruiter search that will bring you up as being willing to go into an office in this geographic area or being available to work remote. So positives and negatives. But the attitudes on this hashtag open to work are shifting. I asked ChatGPT to read 100 articles that were written in 2023 and 2024 that were written by recruiters or LinkedIn experts and that talked about the public hashtag open to work. Asked ChatGPT to identify which of those articles were supportive of the hashtag open to work in a public and which ones were negative. And what came out was that 70% recommended using it, 30% advised against it. There will always be people who don't like that. There will always be people who don't like what you put in your headline. There will always be people who don't like your sense of humor or what you're putting in your about section. LinkedIn is such that you're not going to please everyone. So knowing that there's some people, some recruiters, some hiring managers that are not interested in you if you have the hashtag open to work is a fact of life. You're going to have to decide whether you want to use it or not. But when I changed the prompt in Chat GPT and said, take a look at the articles written in 2021 and 2022 and give me the same results. Earlier on, 60% recommended, 40% advised against it. So the trend line is more accepting of that hashtag open to work, but don't use it if you feel that there is any negative connotation to it for you. Everybody's got a different level, a different set of expectations. Could be either way. I generally recommend it though, because it's the top search that recruiters use when they're doing it, when they're looking for talent. So let's talk about the spotlight features. Let's take a pause there. Any questions on what we've covered so far?
Does anybody have any questions? I didn't see any in the chat. Now's your time to ask
I
Ruth.
do.
Yes,
Sorry, I was trying to raise my hand and I couldn't find that fast enough.
go ahead, Tracy.
Thank you. The great information regarding the Explorer thing. I did not know
The
about
Career
that.
Explorer.
Yes. How did you? I got the link, but I couldn't figure out how. What I'm doing is not giving me the access to do the search. What you demonstrated. How did you go about that again?
You have to scroll further down. So it gives you some examples at the beginning. So on that link, go further down to where you'll find that section where you can enter in the job that you're looking
I don't
for.
see that. That's why I'm asking.
Oh,
Where
Okay.
yeah. So she's at the
restaurant
top of the
service,
Is
page
sales
now.
is this is
coordinator?
this what you're seeing?
Yes.
Okay. You can use this skip ahead that will get you to that area. But first, they want to go through, here's an example of how we're using this information, how we're looking for, they're saying they have 41,000 skills that they're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to go through explanations and how they're moving things around and creating new things. So if you're just scrolling, you're going to do a little bit of scrolling before you get into this job transition
Ah,
information.
got it. I see it. Thank you very much.
Not a problem. I agree. The first time I looked at it was like, oh my gosh, how do I
Yeah, I
get to the
stopped
good
scrolling. I was
part?
like, I must be on the wrong page.
Yeah, it's halfway down kind of through there, so it's a little confusing. There is a question, Ruth. I had heard that using, the pipe symbol is now bad and affects searches. Have you seen or heard anything like this? And for me, I've heard that the AI tools don't like it. If you're downloading that information, puts it all together as one string. It's very difficult to search through, but that's the only thing I've heard. So Ruth, have you heard anything?
On a resume, a lot of the applicant tracking systems view a pipe as end of message or end of
Ah.
activity. So applicant tracking systems that have not been updated will look at the pipe and stop reading your resume. Not all of them will. Taleo's okay. Workday is going to be okay. The ones that are the big ones, but there are about 40 different applicant tracking systems that are used out there. The big 3 or 4 are going to be okay with a pipe, but the other ones, you might only get part of your resume loaded in before it stops looking at it. On
So
LinkedIn, go ahead.
I was going to say, so if you do that easy apply or apply via LinkedIn, where it takes your information out of LinkedIn, then, and you have the pipe character in titles and other things, then it could have a problem with it then.
LinkedIn is telling us that that's not going to be a problem because as they move that in, they are changing that pipe into a uh, something that is not read um, by the system in that way.
Okay.
And since LinkedIn is only the easy apply means that LinkedIn and the company have integrated the applicant tracking system to LinkedIn system. And LinkedIn is able to push the information in your profile into the applicant tracking system because it has access to it. If LinkedIn
Mhm.
is not part of the applicant tracking system of the company, you're going to have to go to the company career page for that title and submit a resume.
Mhm.
But since LinkedIn is only working with companies that are in the more modern format of Taleo, Workday,
Okay.
they're going to be okay.
Okay. That's what I was wondering because I had heard something to that effect. Okay.
LinkedIn heard it too. And LinkedIn is
Great.
always at the top of things and sometimes rolls out things that aren't necessarily true, but this one I think they've got.
Yeah. The other thing that I noticed also in the last week, how they were have the social selling index number, that
Hmm.
mine had like dipped by 20 points. And after 3 days, it went back up again. So I think they had some kind of glitch in their algorithm.
It was a glitch. I did the research on that. I brought that up last week and I actually shared it
Yeah.
with Ruth as well. It was a glitch.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was.
I wasn't on the call last week, so.
Oh,
I don't actually like the SSI. It's a measure of activity. And if you're concerned that you're not active enough, networking and things like that, it's probably a good thing. But the information that tells you what the results of your activities are, I think is more important. So instead of the SSI, I say take a look at your analytics because this is the result.
Mhm.
So SSI, sure. I've been active. I've stayed active. It is glitchy. LinkedIn has not done anything to improve the SSI in the last 7 years, which is an indication that they're kind of pushing it off to the side and not utilizing it quite as strongly. Some people find it very useful. I'd rather go to analytics and say, has anybody seen me? Did I come up in any search appearances? When I've
Mhm,
posted something, have people actually engaged with me?
mhm.
And this is more an indication of whether recruiters are going to be seeing you, finding you, than what the SSI would be. But use all the tools that you feel comfortable doing.
Yep. Two other questions for you. Should we replace the pipes in our LinkedIn headers too? It's like the pipe symbol that you have in your header.
I keep the pipes there because it seems that the LinkedIn company um, employees still have them in there. And if there was a problem with them, they would have put them in slashes or commas or something else. So watching over who the executives in LinkedIn are and what their headlines and how they're utilizing this makes me feel as if it's still a reasonable thing to have available.
Okay. Then following that, can we use icons instead of pipes?
No, any icon, any emoji interrupts the search, and LinkedIn cannot read it. So if you have something in here where you've got stars on either side or thumbs up or firework displays or something, LinkedIn can't read that. LinkedIn is famous for saying, I can't read anything that is formatted. If you're going into your section, your about section, LinkedIn is famous for being able to say, I can't put in indentations. I can't put in anything other than the basic format. If LinkedIn is telling you that right up front and you do add in emojis or things that are coming from a set of information other than an ASCII keyboard, it will not be translated purely across devices or sizes. And that can be a problem. So if instead of these bullet points, which are universal across all sites, you put in a lightning bolt or an arrow or a thumbs up, it's going to be translated differently depending on whether I am on my Edge computer to somebody's Samsung phone. It won't translate the same way. LinkedIn will pick whatever it wants to put out there to replace it, and it might not be as beneficial for you.
So
So
the
I
bullets that are in your section here, they're not considered emojis or anything like that.
No, that's considered to be something. Bullet points are the same whether you're using a Mac, whether you're using any type of phone or iPad. It'll show exactly the same,
Yeah.
and that's what
Okay.
you're looking for here. So it looks pretty, it looks creative, but you can't be found as easily by a recruiter because it interrupts and distorts their search.
So somebody asked, how do you add those bullets in the about section? I could only find in the emoji section.
The bullets, you're going to write everything in Word
Word.
and
Yeah.
copy and paste it in so that you can check for spelling at the same time, because LinkedIn also does not have a spell check associated with it. So put it in some other format that does check that spelling before you copy and paste it into LinkedIn.
Mhm. So Lori had mentioned, I don't think the SSI score matters if you don't sign up for the LinkedIn Sales Navigator software. She asked if you've purchased the Sales Navigator package.
I don't have any special packages at all.
Yours
I've
is a
never,
basic
mine
free
is just,
profile.
mine is as free as it can be. Yes. Which is
Okay.
why whatever I show you, you'll be able to do, regardless of what kind of package you've decided on.
Hmm.
It just seems
Okay.
that from my experience of reading things online, that while there's an SSI score out there and there's a lot of hype in regards to making sure your score is 70, to 80, whatever, it seems to me that through my research that in order to grow your score, you need to have the Sales Navigator package, and those two are tied together. So like the Sales Navigator came first, and then there was a score attached to that. And so I have only seen one person that has reached his score into the 80s. Everyone else is definitely 70, mid 70 and below. But I think it's false information that we can base our success on an SSI score if we're not using the Sales Navigator platform. I mean, unless somebody can steer me in a different direction, but based on my research, that seems what the two tie together. So,
Yeah, somebody else mentioned you can't get a score above 80 if you don't have Sales Navigator.
yeah.
Another question for you, Ruth. Should I include my LinkedIn account to my resume in the information title after my email?
Say that again. I'm not sure.
Should I include my LinkedIn account in my resume in the information title after my email?
Well, your LinkedIn profile absolutely needs to be part of your resume.
They're asking if they should have a link from the resume to the LinkedIn profile, right? In which case the answer would be yes. Correct?
LinkedIn does not allow any active links that take you outside of the LinkedIn platform. So if you wanted to have, let's go into the jobs. If you wanted to add your resume into,
No, what I was saying is that on your resume, you should have a link to your LinkedIn profile.
yes,
So
You
when
should have
the-
your LinkedIn profile URL on your resume.
Exactly.
okay,
That's what I was
yes.
trying to say.
All right, perfect. And make sure that the URL is a clean one and a professional one, because LinkedIn is going to create a profile page for you by first name dash last name, and then it'll have a dash with a bunch of letters and numbers after it. You can always update it into this area if you wanted to change your URL and get rid of that dash, random letters and numbers afterwards. So having
Yep.
something that looks professional will be a good way too. When you're on this page, also look and make sure that everything is in the green. We've seen instances where people have some of these areas turned off, and that means that recruiters are not able to see that portion of your profile. You want the recruiters to see everything.
And then on your LinkedIn profile, do you usually put years of graduation, or do you leave that off due to ageism potential?
Ageism, huge. Keep the dates off of everything that other than your years of in your job, because LinkedIn requires that so that they can put your experience in the right order. But take it out of the education section so that people aren't trying to figure out how old you are and make some assumptions based on your age, which is illegal, but it happens.
Yeah.
I have a question specifically. I was asked on a blind application recently what year I graduated from college. I couldn't even put a range in. I couldn't even put 0 in. It had to be between a certain age range, whatever. Was that illegal?
I don't know that it's illegal, but it's not considered useful.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't lie, but I felt bad. I'm like, well, all right, well, I'm going to get bounced from this job, but
makes you wonder a bit about the company culture if they're asking that.
yeah, I mean, again, I had to put something in, and I couldn't fudge it, and I didn't want to lie, so I just kind of went with the honesty as the last policy. So anyway, I just was curious.
There you go. Yes, that is a bit unusual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back and take a look where we were, and we're talking about the spotlight feature, because you want companies to know that you're interested in them. And there are 4 ways that you can tell a company that you're interested in being part of their plan. You can follow them, you can set up job alerts, you can click on the interest button, or you can connect. It's easier if we just go in and we try looking at it in real time. So somebody give me the name of a company that they're interested in joining.
Anyone? Company?
Caterpillar.
Anyone? Caterpillar?
Caterpillar.
Beat me to it.
How many T's in Caterpillar? Caterpillar. There you go, Caterpillar. Most major companies have a LinkedIn page. So as you come to the LinkedIn page for the company, is this right?
Probably not.
No, the Cater.
Yes.
Pillar.
Say it
Caterpillar.
again. CAT.
Caterpillar. Caterpillar.
There you go. Sorry. All right. There you go. That looks much more reasonable. So the 4 ways that you're going to tell a company that you're interested, you're going to follow them. And this follow button simply means that you'll be able to receive information on your homepage about activities that they're posting on LinkedIn. And these can be new products, open up new divisions, some employee engagement activities. But following just means I'm interested enough in your company that I want to hear about it. The next thing that you want to be doing is you go into the About tab right here. And as you scroll down, you'll be able to see a box that says, are you interested in working with us in the future? This says that you're more than just interested in hearing about the company for financial or investment reasons. You're interested in the company because you want to work for them. So clicking that is an easy way to bring you up to the top of a search, because now you've extended that handshake to the company of saying, I'm interested in your company, interview me, talk to me, let me see more jobs. So that's your second way of saying that you're connecting. The next is going to be on the Jobs tab within this page. And on the Jobs tab, you're not going to be looking for jobs because you'll have a more complete set of jobs on the career page for the company, but you can create a job alert. When you create a job alert, you'll be able to say, here's the title that I'm looking for. And it has to be one of the titles that LinkedIn has standardized. And since they've got 6,000 of them, one of these 6,000 is going to be just perfect for you. So putting in a title, putting in a location, and indicating whether you want to work on site, whether you're looking more for a hybrid role, or if you're looking for something fully remote, then create the job alert. What that does is that when the recruiter posts a job on LinkedIn for a project engineer, LinkedIn is going to be looking at all available candidates who have indicated that they're interested in working at the company and who fit the needs of that job posting. And they're going to push back to the recruiter the profiles of the people who match and letting them know, recruiters, here are 8 people who have the skills and qualifications you're looking for. They have indicated that they're interested in working for you. You might want to start with these folks. Very powerful way of getting the attention of a recruiter, which is why LinkedIn limits the number that you can have. Between the job alerts that you set up in the Jobs tab and the alerts that you set up in a company, you only have 20. So 1 per company, and only use the targeted company or change them around so that you take them off if you've decided there's a better company to target. So that's the third way that you're connecting. Then you're going into the people area, and in the people section, it's telling you that there are 5,749 employees of Caterpillar who have a LinkedIn profile. And let's open this up just a bit. And here's where they live. And here's where they studied. If you click what they do, this is the department that they work in. Sometimes you want to narrow things down and find people who are in the department that you want to be in so that you're able to find people a little bit easily. What they're skilled at, I don't care necessarily. What they studied, not terribly, but it does tell you how you're connected. And as people move around who you have been connected with over the years, they may end up at a company that you want to join. And here's a good way of finding, do you have anybody in this company who you have in common? In which case you can send a message to them. I just applied for this role because of my background or my skills in this. Would love to hear more about this position, or let me know if you have an idea of the hiring manager or the recruiter for this role. First degree connections can share information. If you don't have a first degree connection, you might want to take a look at your second degree connections. And you've got a lot of second degree connections here, but I'm going to look for the ones who are in the greater Chicago area. And from here, I can say, these are all the second degree connections, which means they have somebody in their network that I have in my network. And here are the people, as a matter of fact. If I wanted to connect with one of these people, instead of using the white connect button, which sends the automatic, I'd like to be part of your network, you need to go to click on the person's name or their picture and go to the blue connect button. A blue connect button on your workstation is going to allow you to personalize a message. A white will not. So go to the person's profile, find the blue connect button, send a message. I see we have people in common in our LinkedIn networks. I am improving my LinkedIn profile by adding more people in the either industry or in this field, something, and would love to connect.
And Ruth, with this, when we talk about the blue connect button, that's when you're on a computer. When you're doing it on your cell phone, it's actually the opposite. When you see that blue connect button in the cell phone, no, you need to click on the profile or the three dots that say add personal note, and then you can connect with them. Otherwise, it'll send something generic or just do that. Because I've made that mistake before. I'm like, uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that.
I
So,
understand.
Thanks for that. I didn't know there was a workaround. I just didn't, ask to request to connect on my iPad or my phone.
yeah, there
Very
should be
helpful.
like three little dots and it'll say add personal note, and then you can send a note with that.
Perfect.
Ruth, another question that came in is how important is the profile picture given the ageism discussion?
We'll talk about that in just a bit, but it is important to have because it is a signal to the recruiter that you have a more complete profile.
Okay.
Remember, they don't get much information when they're doing a search on LinkedIn. Having that picture is the first indicator that they are given that you've got a complete profile and more information there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if you're on a site for a company that you're interested in and you're not sure who else you can connect to, recruiters' job is to connect to people. You've generally got the best chance of connecting to someone if they're in a recruiting role. Now, putting a recruiter in your search is going to give you everybody who is currently a recruiter and everybody who has ever been a recruiter. So you're going to have to narrow it down a little bit. And you're really looking to see that hashtag hiring next to somebody's headshot. I don't see any of them here, but connecting to a recruiter can be done in two different ways. If you have not applied for a job in the company, you can just go into their profile, find the blue connect button, and send a request for connection that says, I am a title interested in career opportunities with Caterpillar or whatever the company. Would love to discuss how you like this company. Let's connect. So something that's fairly generic. If you have already applied for the job, then you're going to say, I've applied for this role and be specific with the numbers so they can find it because of my deep experience in, and then give a couple examples. Would love to discuss further. Let's connect. If the recruiter is a good recruiter, they're going to pass that information on to the recruiter who's handling that open requisition. But being able to connect with recruiters, generally easier than anything else that you're going to be doing. So those are the 4 ways we're going to connect with a company. We're going to follow. We're going to go to the About section. I'm interested. I'll go to the Job section, create a job alert, connect to somebody. Okay on that one?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right. You need to increase your visibility. LinkedIn rewards people who are engaged, who are networking, who are active. And the idea of being an active talent is that you do things on LinkedIn, and generally 5 times each week you need to do something. And that can't be that bad, because if you're just on the jobs tab, you should be able to do a whole bunch more than that. If you get a note from a recruiter on your message tab and it says, we have this job opening, looks like you've got the right skills, would you like to discuss? Never ignore those. Push back and say, yes, I am interested. I'm available next Thursday. Is that good for you? Or I'm not interested in that type of role. My expertise is more in this area, but would be happy to discuss my skills in general. But LinkedIn keeps track of that. If you recently updated your LinkedIn profile, whoops. If you added a resume in, if you work in an organization with a recent layoff, LinkedIn rewards you by bringing you toward the top of the list. And here are the statistics that came up for that. Should I have a headshot? Yes, you get 21 times more profile views, and you have 9 times more connection requests. So having that picture there where you're looking out from where you are directly to camera, you don't necessarily need to smile, but you do need to look welcoming and as if you're somebody that's good to work with, do that. But here are the other areas that LinkedIn has provided to us on why you should have this stuff. Okay, any questions?
I have a question for you regarding professional headshot. I know that there have been some talk. I know some people have done AI photos for their headshot. So where you upload your picture and it enhances it. I think glamour shots from the 80s. But what do you think about using an AI enhanced professional headshot versus one that is an
Your goal
actual
is
photo?
so when you go into a company and the hiring manager comes down to pick you up in the lobby, that they're able to recognize you. That's
Good
it.
point. Okay.
And
No
want
other
to
questions.
look just a wee bit younger, that's okay.
Thanks for that. Any other questions from anybody on this section? No, I don't see any at this point. So we are at finally, and it is the top of the hour.
It's an
Any
hour.
questions for Ruth? Thank you very much, Ruth, for your great presentation. Always informative. So many different things that we can do in our job search to land that next job. Showing interest in the company. Tell them I'm interested in working for you. Finding people that we can connect with, and finding recruiters that say I'm hiring. So these are all great suggestions. So many different things. So yeah, this is great. Let's see. Any questions? Oh, here we go. What is the best way to contact a director or VP of the department for the role you just applied for when you have no connections in common?
Remember that connection request is pretty short. So you don't have an awful lot of space, but you can say, I applied for this role because of my background in, my expertise in, give them a reason why you applied for it. Looks like this may report to you. Would love to have the opportunity to discuss further. So it
Great.
needs to be, it has to be short because you don't have much room,
220 characters, right? Or something like that.
but it needs to be very much to the point where they're intrigued by the idea that you may have some skills that are associated with success in that role.
Okay. Another question, any suggestions for someone not willing to post a photo? Is it better to have some other image there rather than leave it blank?
You can, but it shouldn't be a pet. It it needs to be something that looks semi-professional. So if it could be a logo for a company, if it could be just a solid screen, you can put something else in that area. You can put anything you want. It just will be more professional if you've got a picture. If you're not comfortable putting a picture out on social media, which I understand, put something else out there that could compensate for the lack of a true picture.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see, any other questions from anybody?
Yeah, Patty, just one. I have noticed, it's just more of a comment than anything, but I have noticed that under the about section for some of my target companies, they don't have an I'm interested button. So I'm just, maybe Ruth, is that normal or?
Not everybody does. You're right. The bigger companies have embraced this and are using this, but not every company does. I'm always surprised that some of the larger companies have not yet added that in to their features.
Okay.
And a lot of these are the companies that are not integrated with the with their applicant tracking systems and LinkedIn system.
Mhm. So, but you could still try to find somebody within the company who's hiring or trying to connect with them and say, hey, I have this skill set. I am really interested in your company, or trying to find that kind of affinity point, if you will. Okay, great. Any other questions from anybody while we have Ruth here on the call? Lots of thank yous, Ruth. Very helpful information. So thank you again for all of your great information that you give to all of us job seekers. Really appreciate your time to volunteer your time every month to help job seekers. And hopefully they'll come out with something newfangled next month. Maybe they have something new that you could say, Patty, they've updated skills, they've updated something. I guess it's a mystery, right? That nobody knows the algorithm. They're always updating something. So I think it's very, very interesting. So with that, I will thank you.
Wait. Are you going to share the deck again like you did before in the chat?
You're right. I could do that.
Thank you.
Hang on just a second.
So that'll be good for everybody to go through Ruth's deck. So you should see it in the chat, which you can download. And then you should have that.
For your reference, or you can go to the YouTube. Yep.
Correct.
You have a YouTube channel, Ruth? I missed that.
A Career USA YouTube channel, which
gotcha.
I will put in the chat right now again for everybody,
Thank you.
where you can view previously recorded sessions. And so with that, I will stop the recording. I wish everybody a great day. And then I will hang on for a couple of minutes to give you guys some time to download the chat. All right. Thank you.